Shankar. I am founder of Entrepreneurs Cafe. It's a startup community for listed startup founders. I've been a founder myself. I understand building a startup is a very tough journey, and you need a tribe to be there to support you, to help you at certain stages. So the idea behind Entrepreneurs Cafe is to build that tribe, help people with resources, help people with networking, and share knowledge. Today's event is about a very fantastic launch of Superjoin on Product Hunt. So very few companies from India is able to crack the code on launching successfully on Product Hunt. So that's why I wanted to do this event to understand what all goes behind going live on Product Hunt, what all sort of activities are involved, and how do you plan for a very successful launch. So just to give you some perspective in terms of numbers, a product called Super GPT by Superjoin team was number one product of the day, number two product of the week. It was number one productivity product of the week. It was number one artificial intelligence product of the week, and it was number one SaaS product of the week. So many categories you have championed. So congratulations on that. And let's dive in. So just to get started, why don't you both introduce yourself and tell us about Superjoin and Super GPT?
Nikunj, thanks for having us. I'm Abhinav. I'm the co-founder of Superjoin. We started Superjoin back in January of 2023. It's been 1 year, 8 months into the journey. Quick background on what we have been doing at Superjoin is in the entire ecosystem of SaaS, we've realized that spreadsheet has been at the center and the forefront of entire data analytics, and that has been the journey in the last 30 odd years, right? It's not new. Since the era of computers, spreadsheets has been the core fundamental thing that has been primal to data analytics. And we realize as the SaaS journey has evolved so much, people's data have been primarily been siloed into SaaS, because of which we realize there are massive limitations in the data connector ecosystem, where people constantly want to bring in data from their different SaaS tools and bring it into spreadsheet and do their analytics, reporting, and workflows on spreadsheet. That's essentially what we've been building at Superjoin. Manan, why don't you introduce yourself and then we'll take it forward from there.
So first of all, thank you so much, Nikunj, for having us at the podcast. I am Manan. I work as founder's office at Superjoin, and also joined Superjoin as the first employee, and have been doing a lot of different things at Superjoin. So yeah, and also led the product hunt efforts, and it's been, I think, 1.5 years working at Superjoin. So yeah, that's a bit about myself.
So let's dive in. Why don't you tell us about what all went into the preparation of this launch? I think the launch happened in July. So how
Yeah.
many months in advance you started the preparation? What all activities you did, and how was that phase basically?
Nikon, before we dive in, I just wanted to let everybody know that we built Superjoin from the data connector ecosystem for solving reporting and workflow use cases. Over time, we realized that data needs enrichment, and that's the reason why we built Super GPT on spreadsheets. And so Super GPT was an independent launch that we did on a product hunt.
Yeah.
Over to you, Manan. He's the genius on product hunt, so I'll let him take the stage.
Sure.
Sure, Nikunj. So basically, we started, I think it was a very spontaneous decision on our end. We are trying to crack growth and distribution, and it was just one of the 10 line items that we had. Uh, so one of the line item was just to launch on Product Hunt. So I think it was a very spontaneous decision, and we just, I think, took 2 to 3 weeks to plan, research, and then execute, and then launch on Product Hunt. So overall, it was not a very big commitment on our end, but yeah, we utilized the 2 weeks, and the entire team was working towards the launch. So yeah, we just had like 2 weeks to launch the product.
Okay.
And
So
yeah, along with that, it was our first time launching on Product Hunt. So there was a lot of research that was required on our end as well.
So two questions, like why like launch Super GPT as a like product from Superjoin? So what was the thought process behind that? Instead of launching the Superjoin itself, you will launch a separate product. And second is you mentioned you did a 2 weeks preparation time. So if you can walk us through like what all activities you did in that 2 weeks, that would definitely help a lot of founders who are planning to
Yeah.
launch.
Sure. So firstly, I think I started off with doing the research. That is a very, very crucial part of, preparing for the launch, because product hunt is new to a lot of people out there. It was new to me as well, and to everyone in the team, because nobody had launched before on product hunt. So I started off with, just signing up on product hunt and just, getting myself familiar with the platform, because it was so new. I didn't know what, launches mean, what hunters mean, what comments meant, what upvotes meant. So I just signed up on the platform and just, spent like I think a day just going through the platform, just learning, what every term means, how the community functions, what is important to the community, what are different stakeholders involved. So just started with something as simple as, familiarizing myself with the platform, and then basically, started with doing a lot of research around the content that was there on the internet. I spent, I think, 2 days just to, go through every article, every content piece, every video on the internet, to just to understand, what are the things you need to do a successful launch on product hunt. So this is very, very important, even before starting your preparation or just, executing on things. Researching is very, very important. So just spend some time on research, and then, before starting your preparation, I think there are three things that are very, very important. So first thing is to figure out what is your goal with launching your product. So so there can be multiple goals when you launch a product on product hunt. So first goal is basically you just need to achieve that batch. That can be one goal. For indie developers, a goal could be something as simple as getting their initial users or getting good feedback on their product. For companies like Notion, it could be, launching a new feature into the market. So you can have multiple goals. So it's very important to define what your goal is for the launch. And once you're very clear with the goal, like for us, the goal was to just get that number one patch on the number one product of the day, and then just go from there. So once your goal is defined, you can focus on, everything that follows that. So first thing is to have a very clear goal. Second, coming to your question, that why did we pick Super GPT? So it's really important to pick a good product to launch on product hunt. Obviously you cannot change the product, but you need to have like a product that, appeals to a lot of people on product hunt. So if you think about the audience that, hangouts on product hunt, it's generally, early adopters, it's founders, it's VCs from the Silicon Valley, it's marketeers or product people, or people who generally, like to find productivity hacks on product hunt. So you need a product that, basically appeals to a lot of audience that hang out on the PH platform. So that's why, and it was our first time launching on product hunt, so we didn't wanted to launch the main product itself. We wanted to first learn and then launch the main product. So that's why we decided with launching Super GPT. Firstly, because it's a productivity hack that a lot of people can use. It's a very horizontal product that, everybody can use. It has very less friction to, just start using it. So that's why we picked Super GPT. And then third thing that is very important is to, pick the date and the day that you are going to launch. So the day is important because, so Tuesdays and Wednesdays are, very high competitive days on the product hunt platform. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are highly unpredictable and highly competitive. All the, big companies, if they decide to launch, they generally do it on Tuesday or Wednesday. So, and weekends are the least competitive and the least traffic days on product hunt. So we wanted something in middle which had like decent traffic and less competition. So that's why we went with the Friday launch. So third thing that is very important is to pick out the date and the day of launch. Once you are clear with the goal, with the date of launch and with the product, you can, plan and start with your preparation. So I basically divided our preparation into three parts. So the first part was the before launch preparation, then the during the launch day, what do we need to do, and then after the launch. So first two parts are very important. You need to really prepare well before the launch, and you need to focus a lot on the launch day as well. So before the launch, what I suggest is basically, you need to do there's a laundry list of items that you need to do before the launch. First is to create your content as fast as you can. You need a lot of content to launch your product on the product hunt. So for example, you need all the graphics, you need a video, you need a big comment explaining what your product is, you need to prepare your website. There's a laundry list of items that you need to check, and all of this is editable even after you schedule your launch. So first prepare all the content that you need for your launch. That is important. And then just schedule your launch for that particular date. Once you schedule, you can prepare on everything else, because this is, in my opinion, the content is the least impactful part of the launch. So just prepare your content, schedule the launch, and then you can focus on everything afterwards. So once you schedule your launch, and I generally recommend at least scheduling your launch 10 days before your launching date. So once you launch, there's this thing called a teaser page on Product Hunt. Once you launch, you can claim that teaser page, and your product will be listed in the coming soon section of Product Hunt. So once you have that teaser page, you can start building your audience even before you launch your product hunt. So you can start building that initial buzz and funneling users to the teaser page itself. So that is, I think, the most impactful part of your launch. Building the audience is very, very important. And we can come to all the line items that we did to build that audience, but that is extremely important. And then after that, just focus on getting users to that teaser page till the time comes for your launch.
What all
Yeah.
strategies did you use to create this pre-launch buzz? What were the ideas that you tried
Yeah.
out? Which thing was this? Yeah.
Nikunj, I'll just add on to a couple of things that Manan said. So, one of the question that you mentioned is why did you choose Super GPT over Superjoin, right? And a very important point that Manan mentioned was we really need to focus on the goal, what the goal is, right? So we were very, very clear that our goal is brand marketing, right? We want people to know about Superjoin. We wanted a very small product to be tested out very immediately, and the TAM, what Manan mentioned, the TAM was extremely high on Product Hunt because everybody on Product Hunt would want to try something like Super GPT. That was one thing I wanted to mention. We actually spent an entire week deciding which product we should actually launch. Should it be Superjoin for our ICP one? Should it be Superjoin for ICP two? Should it be Super GPT? Stuff like that. Another interesting thing. On the third point that we were discussing was we actually had the launch date decided for 4th of July. So, which we later realized was actually a public holiday in the US, and we would screw up with the entire launch. So, what we ended up doing is, so this is something if somebody's sort of planning their product and launch should actually have absolutely in mind that if there is a public holiday in mind, just don't launch. Leave it out, go on the next day or whatever it is. So we had to reschedule that week and move to the next week. That's all. Go ahead with the next question.
Just one question, so the GPT product, was it already in the works, or that is something that you decided that okay, we want to launch on product hand, and then we will.
Yeah, we built it beforehand. We built it, I think, a month ago, Manan, if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
It was
built a
like,
month ago. And then later we realized we'll do a product hunt launch also.
Okay, okay. So coming back to my earlier question, like
Yeah.
so there is a this coming soon page, and
Yeah.
that is one of the opportunities where you can create a lot of buzz. So what all tactics did you try to create a buzz and like bring people to click on that notify button for the
Yeah.
launch day?
Yeah, so before building the buzz in the market, I think what is more important is building the buzz internally. So I remember when we started the preparation, like I was the only one and one of my colleague as well, Kushagra. So we were the only one who were serious about the PH launch, and everybody was just laid back. So we had to constantly push everyone to, because PH launch is not one person's job. It's a team effort, and it takes a team to win the launch. You cannot do it. Like, I understand if there's a indie maker or it's just founders alone, but if you have a team, it's a team's job. It's not a one person job to launch a product on product hunt. So internally, we had this. What we did was we blocked a 30-minute slot for the entire team in the evening, where everybody, like, the focus was less, because it's a lot of grunt work that you need to do. So we blocked a 30-minute slot, and we used to give tasks to everyone every day before the launch. So tasks could be as simple as reach out to 10 people on LinkedIn, just send them a message that we are launching on product hunt on this date. Can you please support us? Share them the link to the teaser page. And so there were 10 of us and reaching out to 10 people, and we could reach out to 100 people a day. So that's what team brings to the table. That is, first we made sure
Manan,
to yeah.
one thing Manan is not mentioning is that he maintained a leaderboard internally of how many people
Yeah.
each of the people are reaching out to. And in the everyday morning stand up, he would shame us in the call,
Oh,
saying, "You
nice,
have
Yeah.
not done this work." And
nice.
Yeah.
that's how the entire loop used to happen on a daily basis.
Actually, I was going to ask, like, how did you sell this idea to your team that, okay, we want to do product and launch, and then all of them get
He
in?
would shame us. He would just go on the call
Yeah.
and this, "ये तुम्हारा progress report है." That's what used to happen.
Hmm.
Oh, nice.
And we had a incentive for the
Right.
number one on the leaderboard as well. We incentivized them with a Amazon gift card. So yeah, that's just a small hack, that you can do. So yeah, so coming back to the question, the initial buzz is very important. You need at least 500 warm connects before the launch day. So there's one thing on the PH that I don't know if everyone knows, that the upvotes that you need are from the existing users of Product Hunt. If someone signs up on that particular day and just upvotes your product, that particular upvote is not counted. So you need support from the existing users of Product Hunt, right? So the best place was to find people on the community itself, and not reach out to random people in your circle. And everyone on the Product Hunt community is incentivized to help you. Why? Because they are going to be probably launching in a month's time or a week's time, right? So everybody is incentivized to help each other out. That's the beauty of the platform. So what we did was to every day go to top products of the day, just find all the makers or the people who have upvoted on their products, go to their LinkedIn or Twitter, and just reach out to them saying that we are going to be launching soon, saw you on Product Hunt, would love to support you, and if you can do the same for me as well. So, and we were surprised, the conversions were very, very high. So I think before the launch, in a week's time, we reached out to over 1,000 people, and I think 500 of them were warm, and almost 250 of them clicked on the notify button as well. So we had a following of 250 even before we launched on Product Hunt. So that is this exercise is something that will bring the 80% impact, right? So this is extremely important. You need to have this this list of people that you can rely on during the launch day. So
And
this is,
all of this
yeah.
was manual, or did you use some tools to track all of these things?
Yeah, so it was a combination of manual work and some automated processes as well. We used Phantom Buster to reach out to people on LinkedIn and Twitter. But what we realized towards the end was, manual is something that is giving us the most impact, because you can personalize it to a great extent, and you can do a lot more when you can have like second degree, third degree conversation with people when it's manual. For us, probably we didn't had a lot of time to experiment with the automations. So for us, the manual reach outs worked really well. Uh, yeah, so I would say 80% of it was manual. So yeah. And secondly, what interesting one interesting thing we did was to we made deals with one to many deals with companies. So for example, there were a lot of companies who were launching in the who had already launched or were going to launch in the coming week. So we used to reach out to them saying that we have 12 ph accounts with warm accounts, and 12 of us would love to support you if you and your entire team can support us as well. So we cracked such friendly deals with people, with companies. So that really helped us. And lastly, I think what helped us was we used to post every day on social media. So we posted, I think for a week we posted every day, saying that we'll be launching on Product Hunt. We used to share internal stories about how we are preparing ourselves. We used to share stories about the product as well. So we kept posting every day to keep the buzz going till the launch.
So let's talk about the D-Day. What all happened on the launch day?
Yeah. Launch days, I would say it's as important as your preparation, right? The entire 20. So people say, the initial few hours are important, then the, natural flywheel kicks in. But we personally didn't experience any of that. Our personal experience was the entire 24 hours is as important as, you know, 1 or 2 weeks of preparation. Uh, so yes, first initial 4 hours are extremely important, because during the initial 4 hours, PH doesn't, it jumbles and it randomly features the products so that every product gets equal chances. So you need, after 4 hours, you need to be on top to, for that flywheel to kick in. So how we planned the entire 24 hours is, basically we distributed our resources for the entire 24 hours, because PH doesn't creates momentum. It basically pushes the momentum that you have. And secondly, velocity or the rate of growth is more important than the absolute numbers. So you need that momentum for the entire 24 hours. So what we did is, basically, for example, I said we had 500 warm leads. So we used to monitor where we are, and we used to only use the leads so much to keep us at number one. So in the initial 4 hours, I think we exhausted 300 of our leads, and then kept 200 for the for when it was required. And secondly, we had a hour by hour plan of what needed to be done. We literally created a Google sheet and planned every hour of 24 hours. That was the depth of planning that we had.
Nikunj,
And this is,
for context, Manan has a master's in physics. So if you hear terms like momentum and velocity and all, this is all coming from there.
Okay. So I would love
yeah,
to see like what all was there in that 24-hour planning sheet. Like
You
what?
have the
yeah, I
spreadsheet now.
can,
We can bring it up.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can. Do you want me to bring it up right now? Yeah, I
It would
can
be
just
great if you
share.
want to show right now, or we can share offline with the.
So if you can see, we had like a plan of entire 24 hours. So how we did this was, basically, we so all the products are launched at 12:30 p.m. Like you need to launch at 12:30 p.m. to utilize the entire 24 hours.
Right.
So basically, the first 4 hours were extremely critical, and we basically used the leads that we could rely on in the initial 4 hours, and then basically we segregated the time zone. So, for example, till 6 p.m. Indian people are working in the Indian time zone. So we utilize the 12:30 to 6 p.m. wala time for the Indian leads, and then after 6 p.m. we utilized the entire time for the US leads. So just like this, you need to plan really in depth for the launch day.
So
Uh,
when you say you utilize these leads, is basically you sent out messages in batches. That okay, in the first 2 3 hours you sent out messages to 100 people, then next 100,
yeah,
that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this platform called Product Wars. We basically kept that live on the TV, and we were looking at it, I think, every minute, and we were just pushing as hard as it was required. So I would suggest don't exhaust every resource that you have in the initial hours. You need to distribute it across 24 hours. So we used to monitor and see where we are right now and what is required at that moment. So I think there were points where the second guy was really close to us. So we would at that moment we would start pushing, and we would start reaching out to more people at that particular hour. And the second thing that we really did well on the launch day was delegation of work across team. So, for example, one person, so Vinayak and Abhinav, they were basically focused on engaging with people who are commenting on the product page as well, because that is also as important as your upvotes as well. So you need to keep the engagement on the product page as well. Second thing, the entire engineering team was focused on making sure that the product is working or not, the website is working or not. One person was just responsible for making sure that the website is working live, and then everybody else on the team was just reaching out to new people, or let's say reaching out to the existing leads, or just maintaining the momentum for the entire 24 hours. So yeah, so that's how we basically kept the momentum on for the 24 hours.
Nice, I think amazing planning. I've never seen, like I've seen a lot of people launch, but
Yeah,
this is the first time that I see somebody plan so meticulously in like entire activities, preparing so much in advance, and then so I think
yeah.
kudos to you. I think you did a amazing job, and I think that is where the result I saw. Like today, there are 1,234 upvotes, like 1, 2, 3, 4 upvotes on the product. So that's
Yeah.
amazing. So let's talk about the launch happened, everything worked. Let's talk about the outcomes. So one outcome is obviously you achieved all of these records and awards on the product hunt. But on the product side, what was the impact that was created? So how many people came to the website? How many people actually signed up for the product and all those things?
Um, uh, Nikunj, like we said, we were more focused towards the brand marketing bit, right? We are not exactly tracking to the we don't have the exact numbers right now with us. We were not tracking it to the level where we get a day on day thing because, like we understood, product hunt is like a peak in the flow, right? It's a 2 day thing which will give you peak, and then we again started ranking on the weekly ranking, so we got another peak towards the end of the week. That was the only two peaks we saw. But overall, the whole idea behind running this was really more around how people can actually interact with our platform, understand that there are so many use cases that they can actually adopt outside of just Super GPT. Interestingly, what happened is we also got a lot of feedbacks on the product. On the launch day, we actually did 7 upgrades. Like Karan's team did 7 pushes to production on the same day in the 24 hours of the launch day, just by getting feedbacks from the customers. Our customer support team was live. We were getting feedbacks like this is not working, this is happening, this is happening. We were pushing updates day and day. So our product got really, really polished. because of Product Hunt. And we got a lot of inbound needs of how they can actually utilize it in their particular use cases. So we started this product with some X use cases, and we got to know a lot more use cases, and that helped us reach out to furthermore users and make people visualize. We in fact, man, we didn't speak about the UGC we did pre Product Hunt launch.
Hmm.
Actually, that's something we should speak about, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, one more thing that we did for the initial buzz was to pair it with the with another campaign. So what we did was basically we started this campaign called user generated campaign for Super GPT, where we reached out to founders or friends to just post videos or just post on LinkedIn about their use case with Super GPT. So we paired this entire campaign with the normal, launch posts that we were doing every day. So that, that also really helped us with the impressions on LinkedIn and Twitter. I think I remember collectively we had like 50,000 plus impressions on LinkedIn towards the end of the week. So uh, so this is also a hack that you can do along with all the every other campaign that you're doing.
I think it'll be more than that, Manan, because I remember only my profile post impressions were about 30,000. So
Okay, so
it'll be more
it
than
might be
that.
more than that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So basically, all these founders of friends, they were posting some use cases about GPT, and then
Right.
like when somebody gets curious, they come to the LinkedIn page, and then they get to know that okay, this product is launching on Product Hunt. So
Correct.
yeah,
basically, so
yeah,
that's a, I think, really good strategy. It works in both the scenarios. Like even if somebody doesn't care about like product and launch, at least they would get to
yeah,
know about the use cases. Uh,
yeah,
So
so
Nikunj, I'm just adding one more thing because when we started the UGC campaign, no, the flywheel started kicking in there. What started happening was other friends of ours or other founders started reaching out to us saying, "यार, हमारा भी use case है. How do I post it? What do I do? What's the step? Tell us the next steps. How do I install? Because it's embedded in a very unique space of Google Workspace Marketplace, and those kind of things happened during the launch."
right. So I think we have last 10 minutes.
Sure.
If you want to talk more about how does the product work, I think that would help. Meanwhile, I'll also see on the LinkedIn if there are any comments or any questions are there. So if you can just briefly explain
Yeah.
in terms of how the entire product works.
Sure. So I think I can talk a little bit about what we do at Superjoin, and then tie it back to Super GPT launch and the product which we have at Super GPT, right? I already started talking about it in the beginning, right? The data landscape back from the 2000s era to the 2024's era has fundamentally changed because of one fundamental reason. There has been massive SaaS adoptions in the last 15 odd years. Massive SaaS adoption. And SaaS is essentially your system of records, right? These are databases at the end of the day. Now, people who are anyways doing analytics, reporting, or workflows, they bring in this data now not from one single source of their internal database, but from multiple SaaS tools, right? So the moment they have multiple SaaS tools data coming into spreadsheet, what essentially happens is they need some connector ecosystem in the world, right? And that's why we started building Superjoin to allow spreadsheets still be relevant in the 2024 era with the changing ecosystem of data. Now, when we started noticing the behavioral usage of what people are essentially doing on spreadsheets, we realized this data is never complete after it comes from this SaaS tool. You need to enrich it. You need to translate. You need to modify. You need to extract some data. You want to do a lot of things on that data. And that's why Super GPT started shining. We realized, okay, there are very core fundamental use cases that AI can solve inside spreadsheet, which is much better inside spreadsheet rather than you using it on ChatGPT. Something like you want to do data extraction of this data of your, let's say, CRM data, and uh, you know and you want to extract it. So instead of you copying your 20,000 records of data and putting in ChatGPT, what you could fundamentally do is run ChatGPT inside spreadsheet, right? So similarly, if you have different languages data, right, you want to translate it to one single language so that you can classify that data into different use cases. So you can use Super GPT, right? You have, let's say, customer feedbacks. You want to summarize it. These are the core use cases that we identified is much more suited to do and perform inside spreadsheets. So we realized, let's do it in spreadsheets. Why use ChatGPT like an interface which is well purpose built inside sheets, right? And that's how Super GPT was born, and that's what we did.
Sure. I think we have a question from Charu.
Sure.
What
Yeah.
was the gap between coming soon post and the launch day?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Charu, basically, I think the preparation time was, I think, 2 weeks, and in 1 week we launched the teaser page, and we had the so answering your question, the gap was essentially 1 week. But I think we also discussed this internally. We really hope to increase that time from 1 week to, let's say, 2 week, because this period is where you can start building your audience. So this period is where 80% of your impact comes from. So I would suggest keep like 2-3 weeks of gap between coming soon page and the final launch day.
So ideal would be 2 to 3 weeks. I think that
Yeah,
should be sufficient to plan all the activities.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. Any from the audience? Any more questions? Anyone? Okay, so final question from my side is what is next for Super GPT and Superjoin? So after this successful launch, I'm sure you must have got tons of feedback and a lot of things to build. But what are your plans for next, let's say, 3 to 6 months?
So we are in the exactly the same journey. So the entire product hunt launch was just a strong validation in the space that a product like this really is required in the current landscape. Uh, if you look at all our products at Superjoin, our data connectors, our workflow builders, and our Super GPT, all of them complement each other, right? So our whole idea is to enhance the experience of any analyst who is working on spreadsheets to just get better. Like our jobs at Superjoin, like this is what we keep talking about on a regular basis. Like, can we add one more day to the analyst's life, right? On a weekly basis, right? Can we add a Friday to his life, right? And that's what we've been building towards. Uh, yeah.
One last question, like, is there something that you would do differently? Let's say if you were to launch again, is there anything that you would do differently?
So,
uh,
Manan, I think, yeah, go ahead and answer. I just wanted you to mention the last 3 hour fight that you had, because that was something I think is like this conversation is incomplete without that last 3 hour
yeah.
battle we had.
Yeah, so I think, like as I mentioned, right, every entire 24 hours is equally important. So I remember, like, most everyone in the team were sleeping except, I think, me and one more person, Kushagra, and it was, I think, 5:30 in the morning, and the person who was running second, suddenly, I don't know how, like, either they were buying votes or whatever they were doing. So suddenly they had this like a peak in their upwards, and the gap at that moment was, I think, 20 or 30 upwards. So we were on number one for the entire day, and at that point it was just gap of 20 upwards. So I remember calling everyone up and waking them up to just start pushing again. And I remember a lot of people went through their entire contact list and reached out to everyone, and one person also reached out to all his access in that particular time frame. And yeah, so that was something that was really fun, and we had to fight a lot for the entire 24 hours. And so the all the achievements that we got was on a Friday. Just want to clarify that, people do this on Tuesday or Wednesdays, but we were able to achieve this on a Friday because it was a very competitive day. The launch day can be very, very unpredictable, so you need to plan for all the different scenarios that can
Yeah.
happen on that day, basically.
What was like for each of you, like what was your like most memorable moment of that day?
I can answer this. I don't know if I can say this on this platform or not, but I remember, I think it was 12 or 1 at night, and like we were extremely tired, but we were not tired because, we were just blasting music the entire night. We were having beers and everything, and it was a very, like, it felt like we were it was a hackathon, and we were just, having fun. Like, we didn't sleep for entire 24 hours, but it was extremely fun. And we had a lot of fun. All of us were chilling and, working as well. So that's really important. As a team, you need to, get through this together and have fun while you are working really hard. So yeah, when Abhinav can add to it.
Yeah. If I look back, honestly, as a founder, one of the biggest challenge that we constantly face is having the team aligned to one single goal. And Manan and I constantly speak on our one-on-ones also, right? So, having when we were actually launching Super GPT on Product Hunt, this goal was so singular in nature. The outcome was so clear. The goal was so defined that everybody was just aligned to one single goal, and that was so beautiful because uh, it compounded insanely, and like it has forever been something that we will forever cherish, right?
Yeah.
So I think the fact that everybody was aligned to one single goal, putting fights to one single thing, that really helped our entire journey, and like I think I would cherish that. That was
Great.
satisfying.
Great, great. So I think with that we will wrap it up. Thank you so much for doing this. I think some really solid insights, and I would love to like put together something out of this. I'll probably see if I can like write a quick blog on Entrepreneurs Cafe and share some of these insights, and maybe reach out to you for some of those templates that you created internally. So I think that would help to the community. So thank you so much for doing this, and would love to host you guys again for your future launches.
For sure. Thanks, Nikunj, for having us. I think this is honestly both of our first time doing this. So we were both very curious of what's gonna happen next. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.